Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of my account update series. This is episode 3, I believe. Today we're going to be talking about, the progress I've made over the past week, or 8 days, I guess, because this is uploaded one day past my previous one. Seems to be a trend. I wanna upload these on Fridays, but last time I uploaded it on Saturday. This time I'm uploading it on Sunday, so it's fine. Wow, we've got guild spam going on. That's fine. So I'm in Giants here because I do need slightly faster Swift runes for some of my monsters. In a minute here, after this run finishes, I'm going to go over my monsters' current stats because I feel like from week to week, the biggest thing that changes are the runes on the monsters I use the most. Which is, it's kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing. It's cool to constantly be upgrading, but at the same time, it means that all of my teams are going to be slightly off from what they were before. And doing so can really, kill consistency in your team's runs. Like, for example, when I deruned Bernard for speeding up my Belladine, my Veramos, and my Megan, I took away from my Giants team, and it lost a little reliability until I just dropped some more Swift runes on Bernard. And of course, he's still not where he used to be. I believe my Bernard is like maybe 180, 190 speed, a very low speed for a Bernard. But that allowed my Belladine to now be above 200 speed, as well as Megan and Veramos both being significantly faster than they were before. And that's a typical Giants run. Average time is probably around 220, 230. So it's not, it hasn't changed too much. So we're going to go over their runes here. Okay, so my Bernard is 185 speed now. I haven't really given him anything. I had leftover focus runes, some basic runes with speed subs. You will notice on most of my monsters, the places where I'm lacking speed subs are going to be in slots 4 and 6. 3 and 5 I've got plenty of speed substats to go around, so it's more of finding, speed, accuracy, and then HP percentage, depending on the monster, of course. But Bernard doesn't have speed subs in 4 or 6, or 1 even, so he's very, very mediocre speed. Definitely not usable in PvP in any way right now. But that's fine, I don't need him as much. So here we've got Belladine, who was previously, I believe, 192 speed, maybe 195 speed. Since then I've changed a few runes around. This rune, of course, needs to go to plus 15, as well as... I guess the rest of the runes are fine. I recently plus 15'd this speed rune so that I could speed up the entirety of my team. You'll see, he's got better speed substats than some of my monsters. Again, slot 4 is missing a speed substat, but this slot 4 rune, I could get away with it because it's HP percentage and has accuracy and defense subs, which is something that you definitely need on Belladine. Here is the stats here again. The defense is going to help him a lot, I guess. It's going to give him more survivability, but the lack of HP might make the dot damage from the boss wave of dragons B10 to be more significant because he has less HP to resist some of that, but less HP to soak up the dot damage. But at the same time, the dragon should do a little bit less damage to him with higher defense. It's going to be probably 1200 to 1300 defense when that rune's all maxed out. But yeah, the big thing with him was getting his speed up past 200, and I succeeded. He's now 207 speed, which is really nice. Veramos I haven't changed too much. He's at 216 speed. His accuracy, of course, is missing 1%. I believe, yeah, he's on the same sort of build, HP percent, then defense percentage. But you'll see, runes like this, 14% accuracy, 14% HP, and 9 speed. Like, that's awesome. That's something we want to see on slot 4s all over the place. Here's a pretty decent slot 4 with 13 speed sub. I'd like to have 15 speed subs or better. He is on a blade set as his offset set. Wow, that's too many times saying set within the same sentence. But his offset is blade because these blade runes are pretty fast. 18 speed in his slot 5 and 14 speed in his slot 1. They're just the fastest offset, or the 2 set of runes that I had. I didn't happen to have an energy or anything. I'm slowly going to plus them up to 12, of course, but you know, it wasn't a big priority since he really doesn't need more attack, and the speed substat in slot 1 is not going to increase. But I mean, his stats are good for what I need him for. His defense is pretty nice and high. His HP is a little lacking. I'd like it to be 25k, but you know. And I'm also working toward getting that extra 1% of accuracy because, you know, you want your monsters to have 55% to have the highest amount of consistency in dragons. And that's my Veramos. Megan is plus 112 speed now. Exactly 55% accuracy, just barely scraping by with that accuracy. But she is no longer on the shield set, which has hurt my team a little bit. But she's definitely stronger on this build. Again, like my other monsters, she's on an HP percentage in one slot and a defense percentage, rather than the typical speed HP. But these runes provided high speed, high accuracy subs. All these runes have speed subs, I believe. Yes, and all of them have accuracy subs as well. So, I mean, these runes are pretty much golden for Megan. You know, giving her enough speed to, I think she goes first? No, she's outsped by Vero by a few speed. So, you know, it's not a huge deal. Because it's not like Vero's damage is really going to increase significantly by Megan's buff. But she does go before the rest of my team, which is, you know, which is pretty important. Vero being the fastest was only because I need him to clear off those dots once we get to the dragon, which he still isn't fast enough to do. He needs, what, 14 speed to be where I want him to be. 230 speed is like, you know, my benchmark for when I'm going to be satisfied with my Veramos' runes and start worrying about, you know, maybe his HP or his whatever I want to improve on him. But that's Megan pretty much. I have my Sigmaris here. Sigmaris is pretty much the same. That rune is not plus 15 yet. It should be. What I've been considering doing is, I believe I have a speed violent rune. It's not that one. No, I do have a fairly decent violent slot 2 rune. It's probably on another monster who is on a violent set currently. But I have a fairly decent violent slot 2 rune which provides pretty good stats. And I was actually considering for a while putting Sigmaris on a speed slot 2. Because, I mean, you really have to think about how you want to build your monsters when you're giving them the runes or the different slot combinations, if you will, that you wanna have them on. You know, it's more than just putting runes on them that other monsters aren't using. It's more about, you know, what do you want that monster to do. And for Sigmaris, he's, you know, having the additional attack is nice, especially on trash when he's clearing the waves up to the boss. But when you get to the boss, his abilities aren't going to do that much. And actually, for the most part, my Spectra will outdamage my Sigmaris when it comes to the boss wave. Even if they're both, you know, even if defense break and attack buff are up, you know, Spectra will do, you know, 5,000 or 6,000 more damage than Sigmaris puts out with his third skill. So it's almost worth it for me to have a speed on slot 2 so that I can get that third skill off more often. And I'm looking towards experimenting with that soon. Of course, you know, I wanna have the mana to be able to move around runes in order to do that. But you know, that's just one of my thoughts. But you know, he's nice. He has good attack. He, you know, performs in arena. For the most part, I use him a lot in arena and guild wars because he's a great nuker. The attack break is pretty nice, and you know, his stats in general are pretty good. Julie hasn't been touched. The rest of my monsters besides Spectra really haven't been touched. Spectra has a speed increase. He's now in a speed slot 2. Previously I wasn't able to do that because the way I like my team to be tuned for dragons is I like Veramos to be as fast as possible regardless of speed tuning, so he could constantly remove the dots and put dots on the dragon if he needs to and stun the waves up to the boss. I like Megan to go you know, right behind Veramos so that the rest of my units can deal significant damage, or you know, significantly more damage. After that, I like Beladian to go to provide that defense break to the dragon, so that way I can, you know, do even more damage, which is great. He could also seize the buff sometimes, you know, not as good as his defense break, because you know, you're not getting any additional damage, you're just taking off the immunity that the dragon has. But after Beladian, I like my Spectra to go, and so Spectra was pretty much limited by Beladian's speed. And by putting Belladine at 207 speed, rather than having an HP percentage in slot 2 on Spectra, I was able to change that over to a speed rune and put Spectra up to 202 speed, which just means I'm going to be using my abilities more often. I think previously Spectra was at about 170, 8 or something, 162, somewhere around there, and it just wasn't where I wanted it to be. He wasn't doing using his second skill enough, because the big thing is you have to outspeed the right tower, which is the immunity tower, and you have to be able to output that damage before the immunity comes up and the defense break is gone. So Spectra being able to basically take 2 turns over the right tower allows him to, either if his second skill is not up as a result of the previous wave, he can slow down the towers and the dragon, or after using his second skill on the dragon, then he can use his backlash and slow them down, which is really nice because, of course, speed is the most important part of dragons, really, next to, of course, accuracy and damage output if you're going quickly, and HP if you're going for a more safe team, which I might do eventually, but I'm kind of liking my team right now. Those are pretty much the rune changes. Some monsters are going to get runes eventually, as you can see here. I've got plenty of runes just sitting around. Fatal sets that can go on some attackers just so my world boss score can increase. I think I can get A-. I'm currently getting around a B+ all the time. So if I just give some of the monsters runes, my Route doesn't have runes, Zhao Lin's runes, they're not plussed. I just have monsters sitting here who aren't really runed and could be runed to increase my world boss score. Not too worried about that though. Plans, I am back in Giants because I do want to increase the speed of some of my units. I did show off that my 3 and 5 slots on most of my units are not where I want them to be. I would like Veramos to be on an Energiest set in addition to a Swift set, just to increase his HP percentage and increase the consistency of my runs, because I don't need Veramos being a liability in my team, and of course getting him to 230 speed would be very nice. I would also like to have some better runes so that Bernard is more usable outside of Giants. His accuracy is pretty nice, but it doesn't matter because in Giants 45% is the cap. Of course, for the mini boss, the cap is above 100 accuracy, but that's not something I'm looking to hit with Bernard. So we did pull a monster after the major summoning session I did the week before. I did pull an Orion, which is pretty awesome. I'm happy to have Orion. He's not going to see much use. I do not have a violent set to put him on that would make him nice. I know I could put him on Swift Focus or some kind of build where I have plenty of speed and accuracy as well as some HP and resistance. But, he's more of a PvP monster. I would use him in arena defense, Guild War defense, maybe Guild War offense occasionally. He's a cool live arena monster too. I wouldn't go into live arena without him being 6-starred though. It's cool. He's a nice monster to have. That puts me at what I believe just 2 right now. 2 very popular natural 4-stars that people are looking for. I guess I have Chisun and now Orion, both of which I feel very bad about having, as for me they're not impacting my game significantly. I would much rather pull a Nat 4 like a Galleon or a Lucian, but I'm working with what I have to progress. I have this nice Water Horus now, which is kind of cool. I've seen him built for a lot of purposes. For me, he is probably going to be used as fusion. I haven't really pulled anything else. I did do the Fire Samurai Hall of Heroes. I'm currently building him up, as I do not really have a fire damage dealer that I am satisfied with. I have my Daphne, which is the natural 5-star, the Fire Fairy King, and I hate to speak poorly about a Nat 5, but this Nat 5 has not really been useful to me. Again, he's an arena monster, so using him would be difficult without high accuracy, a fast set of runes that could really, meet what his requirements are. And so he will most likely get deruned. But I do want to play around with Jun, the Fire Samurai, because he looks like a lot of fun, and I'm sure he will, show off all of his skills in a, secret dungeon clearing teams or anywhere else where I need a fire damage dealer with plenty of AoE abilities. So other than that, I have been working on my my Glory Shop buildings. I did max out my Mysterious Plant. Sanctum of Energy has not been maxed out yet. That's, lower on my priority list than the Sky Tribe Totem, which is currently level 2. Really looking to get it to level 5 soon, or level 3 soon, I'm sorry. Level 5 is where I want it to be to make, dragons easier and more consistent. Of course, it lowers the speed requirement of your team as you upgrade the buildings, and it increases speed everywhere, which is really nice. It'll help in arena, other PvP scenarios. Other than that, I do plan, of course, like I said, to keep farming giants until I have runes that I'm happy with, so that my dragons team can be more consistent. As this team does perform very well and actually outspeeds my giants team, of course that does raise a red flag for me. That means my team is more toward a YOLO comp than it is a safe comp. It does work out pretty well. The accuracy on my my Belladien is perfect. The accuracy on my Spectra, I believe, is a little low, as is the accuracy on my Veramos, which is crazy. It's a pretty bad sign if your Veramos is not hitting its accuracy quota, as he gets, I believe, a bonus 15% from his passive. But as you did see from his runes, I am prioritizing speed over pretty much everything else on him so that I have a consistent cleanser. Another monster I was looking at for dragons potentially is Mi Yang, the Water Sky Dancer. She's a really cool monster. She's an attack-based healer, which is, not something you typically see used in a team, I would say, or in a safer team. She would provide, extra damage to the boss, as well as reducing the time of the negative effects on all of your allies by 1 turn, and increasing their health proportionate to your attack power. And I don't know whether that would out-heal Belladien. I believe it would, because Belladien's heals, I can't remember, around 30%, maybe 35%. I can't remember the exact increases he gets from his scale-ups, but we'll say around 30%, and for most monsters that's only going to be 6,000 HP. So if the Water Sky Dancer out-heals the 6,000 HP from the Belladien, she might replace somebody in the team. I don't know if she would replace Vero. I feel like Vero is a more consistent cleanser, as she doesn't really remove the negative effects, and the negative effects do last for 3 turns. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't. She wouldn't really take the place of a cleanser. I think if I would replace Veramos with anybody, it would probably be a Konamaya, funny enough. But I doubt I would do that anytime soon. As you can see right here, this is like an ideal run. Of course, Spectra's gotten the damage off. I don't think the right tower has moved yet. I've gotten violent procs from Sigmaris. This is ideally how you want every run to go. And this is going to be around 2 minutes right here. Very fast run. 2 minutes, 16 seconds. This is actually on the slightly higher side of the successful runs. But for the most part, my team will, the stars will align and my team will do what it needs to do, or it will completely fail. And that's probably because of a mixture of, my team not having a lot of HP. Of course, Spectra is very low HP. And so if the dragon gets a turn or 2, and Spectra does not have a defense buff on, or Spectra has 2 dots on him, he will die every time. The dragon will just do more damage than Spectra can take. And of course, Spectra does kill himself with his second skill. It consumes 10% of his HP. We'll go for another run here, hopefully so we can show off what I mean. Very occasionally, Spectra will get focused during the mini-boss wave. A lot of times, though, the crystals will focus Megan, as you can see here. I don't know why they focus Megan. I have no problem with them focusing Megan. They can do it all day, all night. If the crystals focus Megan, land the defense break, and the dragon goes before Vero can clear off the defense break, Megan will live every time. But if the crystals do happen to attack Spectra, which they do sometimes, and Spectra gets the defense break and Vero does not clear it off, the dragon will hit Spectra very hard. Even the crystals here, see they do 7,000 damage to Spectra. It's not what you want to happen. And if Spectra dies at the mini-boss, we will not be able to do enough damage or slow the towers enough to beat the boss. So here the dragon may very well kill Spectra. It depends on how the towers perform, but this is just one of the problems I've noticed. Luckily we didn't have a defense break on from that tower. 5,000 damage there. Very barely Spectra survived, Bella's going to be able to heal here, though. So, I mean, it's really close if you watch these runs. And I've been, spending more and more of my time watching runs to see what's really going on so that I could fully understand what my team is doing, and, try to fix those problems. That's one of the reasons why I did speed up my Veramos. I noticed one of the problems in the boss wave is that Veramos would not go fast enough to cleanse off the dots, and that would result in the dragon doing ridiculous amounts of damage. See here, we're going to get outsped. We have 2 dots on our Spectra. Spectra's going to die here, for sure. Even with Veramos clearing it, I'm not going to be able to do enough damage within the next, round or so. We did see the most ideal run happen the first run we did, which was cool, because that gives a nice example of what I would like to happen every time. Here Spectra dies, which means we will no longer be lowering the attack bar. We do have the slow on the right tower for 2 turns, which is nice. We do want in this scenario, we do want a slow on the right tower. We do not want a slow on the dragon. We want the dragon to take a lot more turns than the right tower, as then he will take dot damage. If Veramos had died there, this would have been a guaranteed loss. We still have a chance of losing here. Occasionally Sigmaris will damage through without the defense break, which he did there, but as you can see, this is not a situation you want to happen. It's very sketchy. And I know some people say this problem could be solved by putting Spectra on a safer build, such as Speed HP, but if I do that, then I don't do enough damage to the dragon to kill him before he just out-sustains my team with his immunity buff. And so, to make a team like this work better with the rune sets that I have on them, like I said, taking the shield set off of Megan kind of sucked because it reduced the stats of the rest of my team. I could probably sneak it back onto Beladian. I'm a little bit scared of doing that, as that will reduce the amount of total speed he has, which means I would have to in turn slow down my Spectra. But it may be a risk I'm willing to take, because that shield set really helps me survive the ad waves up to the boss, as well as give me essentially half a turn more, which means, that situation where Veramos died probably wouldn't have happened. Spectra might have survived another wave and slowed down the dragon. Shield sets, of course, will make most of your runs in anywhere that you're farming. If you can afford to put shield sets on and get the stats you need, the shield sets will definitely increase your sustainability, as the shield sets will take up the damage and refresh every round. So it's like giving your monsters, extra HP, which is pretty nice. The shield sets were definitely, a good help when I first started clearing dragons, like dragons B9, dragons B8 even, as well as giants. If I did a giant speed team, I would for sure, need to have shield sets on, 1 or 2 of my monsters, so that my damage dealers didn't just get destroyed in the ad waves. So here again, this is what we want to see. We want to see Veramos land his stuns on the towers, so the towers don't defense break, But this is basically what I've been doing in the meantime this past week. I've been, doing some dragons runs, doing a lot of giants runs, trying to get better swift runes. And I've noticed, what runes I want to keep, or what runes I want to sell from giants, which is cool, because I feel like before I saw a rune, and unless it had 3 substats that I wanted, perfectly, regardless of their percentage, I would keep it. Now I'm leaning a lot more toward rare runes that will give me speed and 1 other substat that I'd like in high amounts. Like if I see a 6 speed sub, for example, with an 8% HP or a 7% accuracy, a lot of times I'll take that rune and, plus it up just to see how it rolls. Occasionally I'll see a 3, very occasionally I'll see a 3 or a double roll into speed, which is, of course a very exciting rune, because I'm like, oh, I have speed and accuracy for a monster. And pretty much for me, for the team that I'm running and the way that I'm running it, I want speed, accuracy on all my units. Of course, this is, again, the way I'm running this composition is sort of like a YOLO comp, where the way that I'm beating the dragon is by dealing a lot of damage when the dragon's defense broken, with a little bit of heals to increase my attack bar and sustain me through the way. Megan did miss her toad poison there. It doesn't matter, we killed the dragon. And again, that's what we want to see. And if I increase the speed of my team all around, if I increased all their speed by like 20, for example, you know, I would have been able to do this more consistently. Maybe Spectra would die less often and be able to get off that crazy amount of damage more. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but Spectra is dealing quite a bit of damage to the dragon, a lot more than Sigmaris is able to do. On these ad waves, of course, Spectra does 7,000 damage with the second skill, but Sigmaris is doing 16,000. That definitely changes when you get to the boss. Sigmaris' damage goes up a little bit, but Spectra's damage is triple to quadruple what it does on the ad waves, and that's just because the dragon's HP is really high. And I do have other units that I could use here. Like I said, Miang, I've looked at her. I've looked at Xiaolin potentially. I don't like the rune sets that I have for her. She really likes Violent because she's pretty squishy, and so if I didn't run, or Vampire, I mean, I'm sorry. If I had her on Vampire, then I'd be, you know, less worried, less apprehensive about having her as squishy as she would be if I brought her to Dragons. But, you know, I'd need to put her on like an HP percentage slot 6 otherwise. But I don't think I'm going to do that either. I can hold out for a Vertihil. I am, you know, of course, summoning stones for him when I can. I did do 2 stone summonings. I got 2 Wind Drunken Masters from my summoning stones. I think I'm 4 or 5 stones away from 1 more summon. If I'm lucky enough to get stones out of my Giants and Dragons runs today, then I will summon 1 last time, hoping for Verd before, you know, the TOA resets. But I doubt I'll get him. If I did get him, he would definitely come into my team. I might actually replace Sigmaris with Vertihil, just so, you know, because this team alone, you know, the 4 people minus Sigmaris could probably do Dragons. See, Sigmaris did 12,000, Spectra did 24,000 damage to the dragon with that second skill. And so I could definitely survive, or I could definitely, you know, have enough damage output with just Spectra. Even Spectra on a Violent set would be insane to have, you know, at this speed. Might actually be more obtainable. But if I took Sigmaris out and in place put Vertihil, I would get more turns with my Spectra, so I think the damage would be offset well enough. And that also means, you know, my buffer would be buffing more, my Veramos would be cleansing more, and my Beladian will be healing more. This is a pretty short account update video, or shorter than my other ones. I know it's like 30 minutes, but my last one was getting close to an hour, which is pretty crazy. I'm sorry that the videos are so long. I just really want to explain, you know, everything I've done on my account, and what I plan to do progression-wise in the future. And that's pretty much speeding up my units, working on the Glory Tower, and I do have 3 more Ifrit Summoning Scroll purchases left before I get to summon my Ifrit, which will be extremely exciting. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this account update. Next time we will be summoning the scrolls from Trial of Ascension Normal, and as high as I can get in Trial of Ascension Hard. I'll save that for the update video next week. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like below. If you're not subscribed already, feel free to do that as well. And join me next time in my next Summoner's War account update video.